Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At-Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay-at-home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight, got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet, cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Home Dad Chat. Tonight is going to be one for the ages for sure. I have got the 4 board nominees for this year's convention who are all up for vote, and we are filling 3 spots. So fortunately, one of you is going to be, getting the axe completely, but that's okay though, because we're really hoping that you'll stick on and actually help out and volunteer in other ways, because that's the one thing that keeps this organization going is volunteering. And, just because you don't get voted in doesn't mean that you can't continue to help out in other ways. And then, down the road, if, like Danny decides that he wants to quit on us at the end or something like that, then you got somebody to fill. Yeah, that's right, Danny. I'm coming after you.
Wow.
So Danny is with us tonight, just for anybody that's listening that's not watching. So but he's one of the nominees tonight, or one of the nominees for this year. We've got Sergio Rosario Diaz. He's also a nominee. Alex Mustico, did I say your name right, or did I mess it up?
Mustico.
Yes,
Mustico.
I messed it up. So
You're all right.
I should have asked ahead of time. That's poor on my part. So we got Alex Mustico, and we've got Lou Marino with us as well. And so these 4 guys are the nominees for the board for this year. And I'm really excited to get to talk to them and give you guys out there a chance to just hear from each one of them. And we're going to just kick this thing off. It might go a little bit longer than normal. And I think even Alex might have to bounce on us a little early if we do go a little bit long, but that's okay. We'll get everything put in place. And if there's something that does not get answered along the way, you can find these guys very easily through the different groups and things like that. So definitely reach out to them and see what it is that, if the question didn't get answered or asked, that you get that taken care of. So, but we'll get that out of the way. So here's some things. So we've got 4 different guys, man. I'm really excited to talk to all you guys, and it's going to be interesting because I don't think I've ever done a podcast where I've had 4 different faces to look at and go from there.
It's a quadcast.
It is something like that. That's for sure. I feel like the Brady Bunch right now. I just want to look around. All right. So here's the deal. We're going to start off, and we're going to just go through and find out who each of you guys are, what, kind of your background a little bit. So what I want to know is, we've already went through names, so you can say that again. That's fine. But I'd like to know how long you've been a stay-at-home dad, how many kids you've had, and how long you have been a part of the National At-Home Dad Network. And I would like to start with Lou. So Lou, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Thanks for having me tonight. I appreciate it. My name is Lou Marino. I live just north of Boston, in the Boston area. I've been a stay-at-home dad for 6 years. I have 2 boys that are 6 and 4. And I went to my first at-home dad convention back in 2016 in Raleigh, North Carolina.
That's a popular one.
And I've been to everyone ever since, with the exception of last year, obviously. But I found out about the National At-Home Dad Network through just a Google search. I was a new at-home dad. I was Googling stuff about being an at-home dad, and it popped up on Google, and that's how I found out about it. And it's been great ever since. I'm proud to be part of this organization. I've learned a ton from the conventions, and it's been pretty awesome.
That's great, man. No, definitely. I imagine that probably when you were Google searching, you probably didn't find a lot, because there, hasn't been a lot online for quite a while. There seems like there's a lot more now because there's been a lot of guys pushing it, but I imagine it was probably quite difficult to find a lot of information.
It was, yeah. I was like, there's a convention for stay-at-home dads. I remember, and I told my wife about it, and she's like, well, you should go. And so it all worked out in the end.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Hey, thanks for sharing that, and definitely looking forward to hearing more about you and what you got planned for coming in as a board member if things work out that way for you. So next, Sergio, he's having a nice cigar. We've had Sergio on the show before. He's been our resident cigar guy and loves to school Danny on cigars. So Sergio, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Sergio Rosario Diaz. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I live in Fayetteville, North Carolina as we speak because I am a military spouse. So we I'm in a household that my wife is active duty military. She's in the U.S. Army, been in the Army for 18 years. Super proud of what she has accomplished. And I think from the moment I got to know her, I knew there was a decision to be made. When you marry a strong woman, a woman that has had a career, it's totally unfair. I wanted to break with the stigma of, I got to have the first job. I got to, the man has to be the head of the household. So from the first moment I knew when I was looking for rings and I knew I was going to, ask her to marry me, I knew I had a different role. I'm the father of Stella, 4-year-old. And I've been a part of the Home Dad network for 2 years. When I went to that 2.0, I met Brock and I met all the guys, and I joined you guys. And it's been like, I think to the Home Dad network, I was able to get in touch with dads like me, because being a stay-at-home dad, it can be very lonely sometimes, and you can meet with thousands of dads. I am a leader of a community, an online community, Soy Super Papa, one of the biggest Latino communities online, but it can be very lonely because there's not that many stay-at-home dads and stay-at-home dads that are vocal, right? That take pride on being a stay-at-home dad. So through the Home Dad network, I was able to to take a hold of that pride and become the dad that I am now. So, I am in debt with all of you guys for giving me that push to not just be a stay-at-home dad, but to be proud of my role in my family.
Nice, man. Yeah, definitely. And your wife, if I'm not mistaken, she's a captain. Is that not right, in the Army?
Yes. She's a captain in the JAG, which is the judge advocate, the attorneys, and she's up for a promotion. So we might move next year. Super exciting. Yes.
That's awesome, man. Definitely. Well,
Yes.
definitely. Thank you for your service, like as a family as a whole. Like, I mean, just from your wife and you being a military spouse, like, thank you so much for all you guys do. I really appreciate just everything that you just shared there. I know that I've gotten to know you quite a bit, since meeting you at Dad too, and Soy Super Papa has been crazy blowing up. So I've been really proud to see everything that you guys have been doing there. So definitely looking forward to hearing more about that. So I'm gonna go with Alex next, and we're gonna leave Danny for last because everybody hears Danny talk every week. So so Alex, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Hi, how's it going, everybody? My name's Alex Mustico. I'm from about an hour outside of Philadelphia. I've been a stay-at-home dad since 2012. I have 3 children. I've been a stay-at-home dad since my oldest was born. The day she was born was the day I retired from teaching. Prior to being a stay-at-home dad, I was an elementary school teacher, inner city setting in Richmond, Virginia for 4 years. My kids, did I say my kids yet?
Nope.
4, 6, and 8. 2 girls are the oldest, a boy is the youngest. I've been involved with the organization since 2016 as well. First con was Rally. I've helped out every year up until now when I've decided to finally run with the nominating committee. So I'm a little bit familiar with this process. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I know you're on the other side of the of the coin on this a little bit. I know when they told me you were you were a nominee, I was like, well, this is going to be different. Like Alex is going to be on the other side of things here.
Yeah, it's different being on the other side.
Well, that's cool, man. No, I'm glad that that you are stepping up to try to get on the board, and I know that you come with a lot of just knowledge with being involved with things over the years. So I'm definitely excited to hear what other things that are going on that you're looking forward to, and you know, I'm sure that lots of guys will have different questions for you, just like everybody else. So appreciate you sharing everything there. All right, and so now we have Danny Mercer. Danny, tell
Save
us
the
a little
best for
bit.
last,
I
man.
know,
That's cool.
not that anybody really doesn't know who you are because of the show or whatever, but tell us a little bit about you, man.
Well, let's see. I've been a stay-at-home dad for a little over 12 years. I've got 4 kids. They're 15, 12, 8, and 7. And I've got 3 boys and a girl. We originally, again, all of us, Raleigh, was the first time that I really had any experience with Home Dad Con or really the network, although I was in the network a little bit before that, but really wasn't aware that there were even other stay-at-home dads in the world. I mean, it floored me to be in that room with, there had to be, I don't know, guys, if you guys remember, it was like 90 or 100 guys there that year. And we were all standing in a room together. And I was like, all of you guys, you know? So yeah, that's, like I said, I think everybody's already heard enough from me, you know, except for, you know, vote for Danny. So other than that.
Thanks, Danny. Yeah, no, appreciate that, man. Yeah. I mean, I was very happy to hear that you were interested in being on the board. So I know that you've done a lot of different things over the years, and especially over this past year too. So I was excited to see that. So all right, so here's what I want to do. I want to move into some questions of some just sort of like idea things. So here's sort of my first thing I'm curious of. I feel like when you get asked to be a board member, it's typically because the nomination committee and other people like the board see different things in each person that they're like, this is the reason I want to reach out to them. So I kind of would like you to go around and just sort of talk about what is that like passion that you're wanting to bring to the board, as far as like that, maybe that one, if there's like one specific thing that either is from your background that you're wanting to bring in, or if there's something else that you're just like, this is why I wanted to be on the board type of deal. So that's what we're going to go with. And I want to start with Alex. What do you got for that?
So I've been really enjoying this past year with the Dad Lounge. And then I was also really enjoying the webinars that were going on with, I believe that was Matt Strain's brainchild.
Yep.
And I'd really, if elected to the board, I would really like to do something that's kind of a mesh between those two things. Something that could involve the 4 different pillars of our organization, which would be education, support, advocacy, and community. I think that if we were to mesh the education with the support and the community, and all the technology we've been able to, that kind of got put on fast forward the past year and a half with what we're doing right now, and kind of mesh those things together. I think it could be very beneficial, because I mean, I love the webinars, but some of them are a little longer. And if we could mesh like more of a discussion along with an education thing, I think that would be a really cool thing to do. And then also another thing that I've been thinking about for several years now is how to bring the con to your local community. As far as, we have city dads, but we don't have anything. I'm a rural dad. I'm an hour and 10 minutes outside of Philly. And I used to actually help run the Philly Dad group when I lived in the suburbs of Philly. But now that we're out in the country, there's just not the same support for dad groups as there was. And I think that National At-Home Dad Network could maybe fill that void for some of these local dad groups, as well as become ambassadors for stay-at-home dads. Not just for stay-at-home dads, but for dads in general, really.
Right.
I think we need to really, one thing that the National At-Home Dad Network has done for me is it's allowed me to really own being a stay-at-home dad, and be proud of it. I consider myself a professional dad. And I think we don't give ourselves enough credit with our knowledge that we do have. And we could be a valuable asset for our local communities. And I think that the National At Home Dad Network could help facilitate getting us more involved with our local communities.
That's great. No, I like that a lot. I think that's an awesome way to take things that we have already started and build them up even more. So that's awesome, man. I like that. Lou, what do you got, man? What kind of things are you looking at doing?
Yeah, I my previous background was in I did finance for many years prior to becoming a stay-at-home dad, and then I also followed my my dream of going to culinary school. This is again before I was a stay-at-home dad.
Nice.
So I know I could help out, like definitely like with convention things, and also maybe finance things.
That's always a good area.
That's my background previously before I was a stay-at-home dad. But Alex well said about like reaching to local. I think there was talk about that a couple of years ago, wasn't there? About
there was, and it just, I think, I mean, between COVID and everything getting all crazy, it kind of got put on the back burner, I think. And I'd like to just bring it back to the front, because I think the only way. Sorry, I'm like cutting you off. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. I just wanted to say well said, because that was one of the things I remember from a couple of years ago. But just looking to help out in any way I can. I don't have a concrete, agenda, but like I know I can help out. I know that this organization has been very good to me, and I want to give back. And
that's great, man. Yeah. No, I think that, not coming in, I mean, coming in with the fact that you are a able body that's wanting to be involved, and you have like just that, just that inert energy to like want to do that kind of stuff. That's like that's how a lot of the board members come in. It's, some of them don't come in with a total, like, this is what I want to do. Like, they're just like, I'm here to help. Like, what can I do kind of deal. And so, there's nothing wrong with it. That's great.
This was a good time for me because my kids are a little bit older now.
Yeah.
They're 6 and 4, and they're in school, and it just feels like the right time to jump in and help out. And so
definitely
looking forward to it. So.
Yeah, I mean, definitely kids older is always good. It is a time commitment. I mean, that's the thing that I found out myself. I was all excited to be into it. And then, man, the amount of time that you spend, talking to the different board members and doing all the little puppetry behind the scenes on things is way more than what almost can be expressed when it's like, hey, do you want to run for the board? It's like you get in there and you're like, holy crap, like, there's a lot going on here. And so it brings a newfound sort of like respect for everything that goes on. So having the fact that you're not like fully like set on one thing just gives you a bigger, eyes wide open perspective on it. So that's great, man. Danny, what about you, man?
I don't really have a thing that I want to bring per se. I didn't really, I've been thinking about being a part of the board for a while because of the amount of work that I see you guys doing. There's just been so much, and Lou said it almost exactly like I would. This organization has given me a lot. I can't imagine where I would be as a dad, as a husband, really, or as a man, if I hadn't joined the network, if I hadn't met the guys that I've met, if I hadn't had the conversations that I've had, and all of the infrastructure that's behind the scenes that's holding everything up. It takes a lot of work. And I'm not aware or privy to like exactly how much work it takes, but I know what it's the weight that it's on people's shoulders. So for me personally, I was thinking about it for quite a while and was going to put in my nomination before they even contacted me. I felt very humbled and honored that they contacted me, to be honest. But I'd still planned on it ahead of time because I thought it was just kind of my time. And Lou said it, my kids are all in school. Supposedly they'll be in school for like the whole school year. We'll see. They've already had a week off. They got tomorrow off. I'm like, stop, how do you do this? So, but I've been doing a bit of work behind the scenes. I do a little this here and there where I can help out. And I want to help out more.
You do a lot.
Basically.
You don't do a little bit. You do quite
well, you know,
you're the co-host of this podcast. I mean, come on.
Well, yeah,
and,
but
and you run the mental health check-in every
Exactly.
week, so that's big stuff too.
yeah. Well, you know, there's a
Over
lot of
Danny.
stuff that needs to be done. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have any professional background that would bring really anything that great. I mean, I was in maintenance, construction worker, blue collar. I have the ability to learn things, but as an example, you don't want me in charge of your financing. No,
Leave that up to
that's not
Lou.
going to be me. Yeah, lose the man. You know, actually, Ed's the man. And
Ed,
no
Ed is
offense,
right.
Lou.
Yeah,
but
Ed is now
yeah.
doing it, but yes, but Lou would be, you know, Lou's definitely
Definitely, yeah.
They're
Get
with
ready
him.
and put him in the chute, man, because Ed's time's coming, I'm sure. So, but yeah, but those are jobs that I know that I'm not really well suited for, and I'm absolutely fine with that because man's got to know his limitations, kind of thing. But I think with all in all, everything that I've gotten from the network, even if I hate to say this, but even if I don't get elected, I'm still helping. You know, I'm still doing a lot of stuff, and I got to tell you, so far, I feel like I'm probably the guy that needs to kind of bow out this year and let these three guys go ahead, because it's been, you guys are doing. I'm proud of you, and I'm happy to know you, and I really would love to see you on the board. So that's it for me.
Well said indeed. And Sergio, I'm really curious to know what things that you are looking to bring into this board, because I have a feeling like you're just waiting to get something out. So what's going on there?
So I think there's two communities that I represent, and it's the minorities. As a Latino father, I would like to see more minorities step up and be in positions that can really make the change, right? Make decisions that can really change things. I think the Latino culture, being a stay-at-home dad is still, one of those stigmas that we need to break with. And I think what I learned from you guys now is the perfect example to be able to tell to my peers and my friends, family, and fellow dads who are also minorities, hey, it's okay. It's good to be a stay-at-home dad. Come join us. Come join this fantastic organization. So definitely be an advocate for the minorities, and also the military community, which is another community that's not even thought about when it refers to the stay-at-home dad figure. Everybody assumes the man is the military, and there's a lot of stay-at-home dads, but we have them in the shadows. I think it's very important. I met a couple of guys through the Home Dad chat, and I stay in touch. They're here in Fort Bragg, and that alone has been, we talk on Messenger almost every day. We stay in touch, and it gave me the sense of community, like, hey, we need to pay attention to this issue that nobody, and I'm going to say nobody's paying attention, because I haven't seen anything with military spouses or dads, stay-at-home dads. So the military community is a beautiful community, right? People who are supporting their other significant others' career 24/7. Most of the time they are home with the kids. Sometimes they don't have any help because of where they're stationed. So how can we as a community support these people and these dads who are, sometimes crying for help, but don't have the ability to or maybe they don't want to ask for help. So how can we as an organization make ourselves available to them? And that's something that really concerns me, and I would like to bring into the table. Also, we talk finances. The military community is full of resources. So I think bringing awareness or a different program directed to military families can definitely bring lots of funding to the organization. And I am all about that, because we need more resources so we can get to more people. And this is something that I am genuinely interested and I am involved. However, by myself, I cannot do things. I feel like the change is small, and that's why I come to the organization, because I think, the concept of community, all of us together, we can really make the change. And, that's why I'm here tonight.
Oh, that's great, man. Yeah, definitely. And I think that you hit on a very key point with the idea of different these different people, different groups of guys who are stay-at-home dads in different areas. So like you've got like the military dads, and then you've got all the different diversities of cultures of other dads that are out there. And a lot of us don't know what they're going through or how culturally how different that is. Like I know like reading different things that guys put out there from time to time, like you get some different blogs where they'll dig into that, and you see where it's like, especially in the Latino culture, it's like, it's one thing to be like macho and like, be that dad that's very much out there. And there's a very heavy stigma from what I've read. And so to be a stay-at-home dad is like so countercultural, even more countercultural than some of us, might be seen as. So that's awesome, man. Definitely. And then from the military side, I'm right with you on that. Like, I mean, I'm also former military in the Navy, was in the Navy for a time. And so I've come along, guys, especially at like some of the other stay-at-home dads groups where, you hear some of like the horrible things that like these military dads go through when either they're a veteran or their spouse is the active duty. And it's like, people are like, well, why don't you have a job? And they're not willing to say like, they're not willing to say thank you for your service or anything. They just want to spit in your eye. And it's like, wow. And I was blown away by like the very first time I had read a story of a military dad that had gone through like where they said that they were a disabled veteran and they were a stay-at-home dad, and they got basically verbally accosted by somebody because they didn't agree with the fact that they were a stay-at-home dad after they had served our country and got injured serving our country, and now was only able to just basically stay at home and take care of the kids. But they do that with such honor and then get disrespected at the same time by it. So that's something that I've gotten more passionate about myself. So I'm right there. Like you were talking about that. I'm like, let's go for it.
And there's different aspects, right? To be in a military family. You just said one of the examples, which is retiring, and a lot of fathers who retire at least spend 1 or 2 years being a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
And I wish we can get some stats. Maybe, that's a way to do some research about it.
That sounds like a Pew Research thing.
Yes, there's a lot of dads who, in the first year after being retired from the military, they are staying home with their kids. And I am seeing it every day with my community here in Fort Bragg.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with so Ben Killoy, who's coming to talk at Home Dad Con. I know when I met him at DC Dad 2.0, that was the thing. He was retired. He's retired Marine, and he was telling me about what he did, and I basically called him out and said, "You're a stay-at-home dad." And man, he turned around and was like, "No, I'm not that." And like, he really didn't want to grab hold of that mantle. And it wasn't until he came to Dad Con at home and saw everything that was going on that he eventually like turned around. He was like, "Yep, I'm a stay-at-home dad," and like really just grabbed hold of that and has really run with it. And also just with, the things that he's been doing. So there's definitely a platform for that. Sure. and I would love to see that really go full force. I am curious though. So just to kind of like springboard back to you a little bit, Sergio, being, you were talking about, your Soy Super Papa and like the things that you're doing there. And I'm just curious, like being in the in the organization for the couple of years that you've been in, I'm curious of what your opinion or viewpoint has been on seeing like some of like diversity, or how, like, I'm kind of curious, like where you see or where you gauge that as far as what you're seeing in the group.
I think diversity is needed in every fatherhood organization right now. I think it took me about 5 years. My daughter's going to be 5. So about 5 years to even feel comfortable. So that's me. And I am an extrovert. I do different things. And can you imagine somebody that's an introvert, or somebody that, is ashamed of being a stay-at-home dad and doesn't have the resources? So that's one of the things I would like to do, get the Black fathers involved, the Latino fathers, Asian fathers, and all other ethnicities, just because we need to normalize that. And I think with such a strong organization, you guys have the resources and the experience and the mentorship that's needed, because it's not only putting an article out there, it's about having constant conversations, maybe on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis with those dads, and getting them to open their hearts and their minds. So in my opinion, it is no easy work, to get somebody to open their hearts and their minds. And we really want to lead by example. So I think there needs to be more representation. My intention of being here is, making myself available and say, hey, I am here. Please see me, making myself, showing myself. In the past, there's people who reach out, organizations that reach out, but that's it. They reach out for Hispanic Heritage Month. And, I am not the Latino guy that you need only for Hispanic Heritage Month. You need me, 365 days a week, because there's a population in the US that needs to be represented and that bring a lot to the table. So, I want to be there and be in a position to tell others, hey, I am here. It's fine. Come along and offer a helping hand.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
That's great.
Let me jump in a second. I'm sorry, I've got to tell you, but
you're fine.
Sergio, that's exactly what I think needs to happen. It's that representation. It's someone that's already there doing the thing that you wish you could do, and being an extrovert like you are. It's just something that if you have one guy that goes first, he's like breaking the waves, and everybody else can follow right along. I think that's a fantastic idea. And especially with our minority communities, and like you said, the military communities, man. Again, I've had a lot of enjoyment talking cigars with you and things like that, of course, but I really appreciate what you just said. Sincerely.
Thank you, Danny.
Definitely. Well, and too, like, I feel like that's the thing that's really starting to break through in the group itself and in the organization, is this, like, hey, we're inclusiveness and just inclusion, and really just trying to draw in dads, and it's across the board dads that are, we're drawing in. And so, and two, I think that also, like, I mean, there's a lot of guys, who, myself included, who have had to really re-examine that whole definition of dad, of father, like what that looks like. And then two, to be able to just see the different ways that dads and fathers interact with their kids, and how that plays out. And I mean, I grew up in a very rural area where I did not have a lot of diversity and culture. And so I live in a bigger city now, and I get to experience that more. But honestly, just in the time that I've been a part of the organization, I've experienced so much and learned so many different things that I didn't even know, honestly, that even existed, which is really interesting for a 42-year-old man to say. But I mean, I've very much been educated by so many different things, but at the heart of it all is this place of support and acceptance and inclusion. And so I'm glad that you guys are all saying, a lot of the same things, honestly, in the fashion of, like, you're really looking to aspire to push the organization forward. So I really appreciate you guys all talking about that. I do want to get into some of the questions that I had posted. I had the guys in the group throw in some fun questions just to see what they would say. And so I've read through a few of these and not too many. I love, and I'm going to call out some names on some of these people because it's really funny, but David Stanley, God, David Stanley is so funny. His first question is who's your favorite kid? Which, I mean, how are you going to pick your favorite kid, honestly? Although my wife would tell you that at some point you always have at least one person that you favor over the others, depends on the day. Depends on the day.
The hour.
I agree. I think that everybody would probably agree on that one for sure. But he was curious, though, like, what led you to be a primary caregiver? And I know you guys have all touched on that a little bit, but is there anything outside of what you've already said that you want to add to that?
So I can go.
Go ahead, Lou.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I just it was just the right decision for us. My wife had a better career path than I did, and she could never stay at home and do what I do. She always feels like I'm the more nurturing one, and so it was just it was a pretty easy decision for us. My son, when he was first born, was in the NICU for 5 weeks. So
Yeah.
we that was just like a life-changing event for us, and that's kind of when we made the decision, like that I was going to stay home and be with them, and so
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
My sister is a NICU nurse, so I completely understand that. That's always a very trying time for sure. Alex, were you going to say something?
Oh, just being a former elementary educator, it was just a natural fit for me. Same with Lou. My wife had a better career path. I actually started dating my wife in college when we were still going to school, and I was going for elementary ed. And the running joke, even when we were dating, was that I was going to be a stay-at-home dad. My plan all along. We both come from households where we had the privilege of having a stay-at-home mother growing up. And to go back to the diversity issue, this group, we have a diversity issue and have had a diversity issue since I've been involved with the organization.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of trying to figure out how to bring more people in, bring in, LGBTQ, bring in the Black community, bring in the Hispanic community, just bring in all these communities. And I think it all goes back to putting ourselves out there through the Dad Lounge has been huge for me. Like because I think we get hung up on this idea of a dad group and how, I'm going to be honest. I started being a stay-at-home dad in 2012. I found a Richmond dad group immediately through, get this, Yahoo email thread.
Boy, you're going old school.
Yahoo groups.
So my first dad group that I was involved with. And then I moved to the Philly area, and I didn't find, I found Philly dads. It was just getting going. I met Chris Bernholt. Some of you may know him.
Oh, yeah.
And that's who got me involved with the organization. And it took him 2 years to convince me to come down to the con, because I was like, a dad group, there's a stigma associated with this. And for white men, not for other cultures like Black culture and Latinx, and there's a lot of toxicity going on in those cultures, unfortunately. And I mean, there's a lot going on. There's, it's not normalized or destigmatized in the cisgender, heterosexual, white community. We got a lot to do. We got a lot to work on. And it's just a matter of how do we do that? And I don't have all the answers, but I'm willing to try and figure that out.
I think that's honestly, I think that's the biggest step, is being willing to go forward, because I think that's where a lot of people get hung up on in general, is just not wanting to take any steps to do any of that. So that's great, man.
I think it comes back to like that ambassador idea, because right now, so where I live, I told you I'm in a rural community. There isn't much diversity, but there is a large Hispanic community. I live right near Kennett Square. It's the mushroom growing capital of the world. And what I'm trying to do with another fellow, well, she's a stay-at-home mom, but she has an education background as well. And we're working on getting a bilingual story time going for the Hispanic community, because our local community isn't reaching out to them. And so we need to reach out and get people involved, and maybe I'll meet some Hispanic dads that stay at home, and I can bring them in. I think we need to get into our communities. We need to do more, not just as board members, but as members of this organization.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Also, as individuals, I think each of us are doing great things, as individuals. So that's where it starts. I am a person that trusts the process and respect the process a lot. I work with Third Path Institute part-time, and it was a big transition. I think the Home Dad Network helped me transition to being a dad who stays at home and works at the same time, which is, let me tell you, I am glad my daughter is at school now. But it's going through those stages where you need to support the most. And, if you have somebody that looks like you or speaks like you, it's a little bit easier because of the, being comfortable. And another thing is, there's another community that's unspoken about. And I, through Third Path Institute, have met with them and have been able to work with them, which are the dads who work and want to become a stay-at-home dads. And nobody is saying, hey, raising their hands and saying, hey, you're welcome here. Come and look, learn, shadow, look at what we're doing. It's okay. It's going to be fine. And that's another community which I, along with mental health, it's a big issue. And we need to, look at those dads that can bring a lot to the table, but they just don't know where to turn. And they have to face the challenge of people looking at them and saying, hey, you just quit your job and you're a stay-at-home dad. What about that now? And that's another community that's not being looked at. So, again, I think it's about finding those communities and putting our best people who are the members of organizations to work with these communities. Liaison, it's the key word here is collaboration and becoming liaisons to other communities or other dads who are looking for something.
Definitely. Yeah. Being a liaison is ambassador, that kind of thing is definitely an awesome thing to get put in place for sure. So, I'd say, Danny, did you have anything that you wanted to add to any of this portion of things?
Well, I was just going to say the biggest part of it that I've seen so far, and for my end of it's been mostly mental health stuff. And I'm very open about my mental health and the things that I've gone through and yada, yada. And I do, like I said, run one of the mental health check-ins, and have helped Michael Holder with the other one that he's doing. And the biggest thing that I saw, and it's something that my therapist said to me, is I asked, was there any men's group even around that I could go to? Was there a men's support group for things that I'd been through, for the trauma that I've had? And she said, no, but you could start one. And it blew my mind. It was just like, I can't really. And she said, yeah, you just do it. You do it and other people will follow. It's you build it and they will come kind of thing. Wherein if you're the first person that gets out there and does it, then other people will join you because they want it, but they don't have maybe I'll say being an extrovert helps a lot. But the determination that you want to help someone else, you do want to reach into another community, whatever that community might be, and say, like Sergio said, you're just like me and it's okay. Yeah. Come on up here and we'll be brothers, and every single dad I think that I've met in the network, and any at-home dads that really met outside the network are all like brothers to me. And every single one of them, they're just like, yeah, you're doing what? Well, let's do this. Oh, I'd love to do that. And mental health has its own stigmas, of course, and it's a little bit more delicate for some people. But when I think of it, the word that keeps coming to my head is macho or machismo, because we've talking about the Latinx community and the need for that there. And machismo is leadership. It's not that bowing up kind of thing that we do when we're in our teenagers years or what have you. Being macho is more about being a leader, and being a leader means the one that goes first in whatever situation that is. The military guys, I'm sure, could tell me way more about that than I know, but that ability to step out and be the first person to do that thing, whatever it is, and reaching out to those other communities, I think is just absolutely, one of our 4 pillars is community, because that's what we are, but also that's what we're building. So.
Definitely. Yeah. And not to use any names or anything, but I know of one specific story where it's like you were talking about, you were speaking with your therapist and they were like, just get something going. Like, and this person, they were seeing a therapist and they were just like, I just need other people who understand what I'm going through. And their therapist actually found the National At-Home Dad Network right before DadCon at Home last year, and was like, hey, here's this group. And they signed up, came, and they didn't know anybody. It was just kind of they just walked in and was like, hey, and immediately just meshed with everybody. And he has been coming to the Dad Lounge almost religiously since. Actually, it was really funny because this person texted me, or no, he emailed me right before I kicked the Dad Lounge into full gear, every week type of deal, and was like, hey, when's there going to be another online virtual event? And I'm like, well, there's not going to be anything like DadCon at Home again, but I've got this starting tomorrow night. he's like, oh, that's great. And like I said, he showed up every night since then, and it's been just amazing for him because you can just see the joy on his face. Just to just sit there and listen to other guys jaw about while he sits there and smokes a cigar and hangs out with everybody. So online. So definitely, I think that just the way that community is built and finding that your community is so important. So
your tribe.
I definitely agree with that.
Raleigh, man.
Yeah,
Alex,
you guys, all these Raleigh guys. Yeah.
Raleigh guys, you know, when I walked into that room, not a single guy looked at me and goes, hey, what do you do for a living? You know, and that was the coolest feeling for me because every single guy there understood. And that community was instant, you know, and there's really room for us to do that for way more communities. So
definitely. So I have a couple other questions here for you because I know that Alex has got to go here in a few minutes.
Yeah. So if I have to bail out, it's fine. You guys can keep going.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I know that you need
force you guys to stop.
Sure.
Yeah, she's got a meeting with Japan.
Hey, that's part of the breadwinning mama life. I get it, dude.
She gets control of the computer at 8:30 for the
So the question that I have that I'm curious of is it has to just do with transition. And so Brian Frampton asked, like, what's the roughest transition that you've ever had to deal with? I have a feeling I know what Danny's answer is, but I don't know. I'm just talking about you moving. But no, I'm just curious, like, you know, even transition, like when you transition like out of the workplace into being a stay-at-home dad, you know, and there's all these other different things that happen as you go along. I mean, even to transition into a spot where now you're going to be like on the board of directors for a nonprofit, you know, that comes with its own things. So I think what Brian's trying to it seems like he's trying to get at is just like, you know, how have you come through a rough transition? What was that, and how did you go about that? So I want to start with you, Alex, because I know you're gonna have to leave here in a few minutes.
Yeah. So the easiest transition was going from my inner city elementary school teaching position to having one child at home. I like couldn't believe, I was like, you know, I had 27 inner city like high need children that I had to deal with every day. The last year I left, I was teaching kindergarten. And they knew I was leaving and they put me in kindergarten because of that. They're like, that'll be good training for you. So that was the easiest transition, was going just to one kid. And it was like, I loved it. You know, it was like the best.
Instead of hurting a whole bunch of cats, you're just hurting one cat.
And I got really lucky that my firstborn was like a super easy baby.
Oh, you trapped me.
The most difficult transitions were adding number 2 and then number 3 to the mix, and just learning. And it wasn't even the actual adding them in, it was the anticipation to adding them in and trying to think about, how am I going to do it? I'm pretty open about my mental health as well. You know, I have generalized anxiety disorder that I struggle with and have struggled with my entire life. And it's anticipatory anxiety. And so like the anticipation of these impending lives that you're going to now be responsible for, I think was the biggest difficulty. And I think I was just shielded from that because I was in such a chaotic situation prior to becoming a stay-at-home dad that I was like, so
this is way easier.
But every time I've had one of these difficult transitions, I've always overcome. I've always adapted, and I don't think becoming a board member would be any different.
Awesome. Well said. Perfect. Thank you, man. If you want to take off or hang out, you can. Either way,
I'll hang out, and then I'll just wave and bail. But I'll hang out.
Man.
So,
all right.
So I get to.
Awesome. Hey, Sergio, I'm curious. What are your thoughts on that question?
Well, I think the biggest the challenge that I faced during transition has been getting back to the workforce. I think you know, you give yourself as home dads, we give ourselves, you know, in body and spirit, 1,000%, that even the thought of going back, it's scary. It could be scary sometimes. It could be sad. So I seen a movement of moms who are actually getting to get unpaid work, such as, you know, being stay-at-home moms on LinkedIn, on their resumes. So I would like for us dads to, you know, be equally treated in that and get recognized for the unpaid work we do. And I think it's very important campaign we need to look at in the next year, couple of years. I was lucky enough to be Eve Rodsky's documentary Fair Play together with my wife as, an example of Latino couple. The man is the one that's doing the unpaid work. And it really made me think that these are conversations we should have more often. When I was asked in front of my wife what percentage of work she thinks I do around the household, and then she was asked the same thing, you could still see that even though she's the one working, or most women are the ones, in our case, working, there's still a certain responsibility that's around them, and that made me realize I had to reevaluate myself as a stay-at-home dad, and also getting back to the workforce, because I was dealing with a lot, and I wasn't sure how to handle that. So, there's a lot of dads who I know are looking to get, part-time, or looking to get back into the workforce, and they don't know. And of course, providing support and resources for dads. That's actually how I got help from a dad, from Marlon Gutierrez.
Good guy.
Yeah, great guy. Marlon is a work-life balance advocate, and he was the one that helped me. He was the one that said, hey, these are the resources where you can find remote jobs or part-time jobs. And he was a living example of somebody who did it. I just had never met anybody who did it. So, again, another dad changing the world.
Definitely. Well, yeah. And Marlon is definitely a good example of that for sure. He's been a part of City Dads, I believe, out of Orlando, I think it is, for a few years. And I got to meet him at Dad 2 in DC. And yeah, it's amazing. Like, to hear his story is amazing for sure. But I'm curious. I want to draw back to one thing that you had said. What's the name of this documentary that you were involved in? Because this is the first I'm hearing about this, and I want to make sure that people know about it.
It's coming soon. I'll give you the details. It's based on Eve Rodsky's Fair Play book.
Oh, okay. So it hasn't come out yet. You're just
it hasn't come out. I'm not gonna say anything else.
No. That's okay. That's great, man. Hey, it's always fun to get a little bit.
It's coming soon.
No, I love that.
Keep an eye.
Just to even, these different dads that are coming out and getting their content out, or their stories out, or whatever is just awesome. So I think that we'll make sure that we get that, when it comes time for it, we'll get that out for sure. That way we can get the full scoop on things. Cool, man. Well, I really appreciate that. So let's see, we got Danny and Lou. You guys want to duke it out for who wants to answer the question of roughest transition?
Go ahead, Lou.
Can I say my 3-year-old was the roughest transition?
Yeah,
yes, you can.
Yeah, you definitely can. 3 years
yes,
old.
you can.
Everybody talks about the terrible 2s, but
no, your teenager is way worse.
And when they turn, and when they turn 8, it's even worse. So yeah.
Yeah, 8 happens again. Yeah.
Yeah. So
tell us about it. Lou.
Yeah, tell us about this 3-year-old. What's the story there?
No, just I haven't really dealt well with the. Well, he's 4 now, but. I didn't deal well with the whole I do it myself thing, and
yeah
we're trying to get in the car and
just anything. It's like, why are you fighting me? We're going to where you love this, whatever it might. We're going to the park or the playground. You're ready to go. Why won't you get in your car?
Did you accidentally call him Stuart at some point? Let me do
it. No, but no, 3-year-olds are pretty rough, but like Alex said too, also going from 1 kid to 2 was a big transition too. So that changed the game. So
I definitely, because you go from man to man to zone defense at that point. So I totally understand for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
I get that. Yeah. Cool. Danny, what about you, man? Roughest transition for you?
Well, I'm only going to tell you if it can't be used against me in being nominated or getting on the board or voting for me, because I have not handled it well. I am not doing well with it now. And it's the moving my family from Georgia up here to Wisconsin. And
You've been very
big move.
transparent about what's been going on there, so you're
think,
okay.
in hindsight, I feel like that I can look at it and say that was pretty much a success. There were things that went wrong. We knew there were things that would go wrong. It's like a road trip or whatever. It'll be a great memory later. We'll laugh about it later, that kind of thing. But overall, there's a lot involved with it. There's a lot of planning. I was packing 6 months in advance. I had the contractors in the house the second day after we closed. I had them in the first day, but I wasn't sure we'd close, on time or whatever. But realistically, it was a success. But it's been, and it still is, because there's boxes everywhere. We have rooms that don't have any furniture yet, because we have an office that we put up first for my wife, first and foremost, so she could keep working, and they still haven't replaced her window. And it's a single pane garage window, and she's going to be freezing once the cold weather hits, but they're out of windows. There's a window shortage, or I don't know what's going on with it, but yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that I've run into. But I don't feel that I am done with it at all. And I don't feel that I've done my best, but I don't think my best was good enough. It just seems like a lot of stuff just like drags on me, and I'm burnt out. So I don't want anybody to judge, what I might be able to do when, I'm not really.
You moved across country, man, with a multitude of kids, and lost a cat.
Yeah,
and
lost a cat,
we've talked about a lot of your. Nope, you're fine. We've talked about a lot of your story. So you've been through quite a bit this past few months. So I completely understand that.
Yeah. Can you imagine me doing that every 2 years?
Oh
no, man! I was talking
I'm already packing, brother. I'm already packing. My garage, everything is in boxes already.
Yeah.
So you gotta
it's coming.
It's coming, and it's hard. I mean, I can't blame you. But there's this thing called, like, we do a third path called Good Enough Mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
GED. GEM. GEM. And Good Enough Mode means there's no time for anything else, so you have to get yourself in good enough mode and let your significant other or your family members, your kids, know that it's okay. Like, if there's boxes around the house, if there's stuff that's like, in the couch, or stuff that just lying around, or things to be done, but mentally or physically you're not there yet, you are operating in good enough mode, and that is totally fine. And as dads, stay-at-home dads, we are in good enough mode a lot of times during our life. So it's okay to those dads listening. Hey, it's okay. Good enough mode. Explain to your significant other what it is. Tell Sergio told you, and
I'll do it.
You just blame it on me.
That's a great acronym. No, that's a great acronym, man. I've never heard that one before. That's awesome.
We do progress, not perfection. That's really what we're doing with big projects like this. It's just, you didn't do everything perfect, and it's not done yet, but you made progress. Learned that back when I was working with a lot of builders. They would have 30 houses they're building at a time, and they would do something on every single house every day, no matter what. Even if it was just going in and changing a doorknob, they did something to progress that house. Maybe it's not perfect, maybe it's not, but it's going forward, And with something like this, even without 4 kids, just like you said, Sergio and I talked with Grady Black, who is Air Force or is retired Air Force, and his wife is still in, and they're planning a move, and they don't know where, but they know it's coming. And he said, I have a finite amount of stuff around the house, and that's it. I don't go buy out a bunch of stuff because I know I'm going to be packing it and have to move it again in another, 6 months or a year, whatever it is. So, mad respect on that. But I appreciate the acronym.
Definitely.
Excuse me.
I think that's a whole nother topic that I definitely want that Danny and we need to do a whole like episode on, is just the military in general. So, and that kind of thing. Cause I just listening to you guys talk, I've got some ideas on that, but we'll digress on that. I do want to ask some fun questions too, along with tonight, as long as with the serious ones. And I'm kind of sad that Alex had to go, cause I didn't really get his take on this, but so Home Dad Con is coming around. This is actually your first Home Dad Con, Sergio, right? Like, this is the first time you're coming. So I'm going to ask you a singular question, and then I'll ask Danny and Lou a question that's more in line with the veteran side of it. But what are you looking forward to coming to Home Dad Con this year, Sergio?
Man, I'm all in for the hugs and handshakes.
Yeah, you better be. You better be.
I'm a big guy, so I'm like a teddy bear.
Yeah.
I think the synergy that's created when you shake your hand and smile at somebody and give them a hug, that lasts along, that fills your tank for quite a while. I think that's one of the big reasons that it's important to meet in person. So I am really looking forward to seeing all those smiles, all those dads who are taking time for themselves, just like me, and are looking to be just a regular Joe amongst other hundreds of dads. You know, no responsibilities, just looking to take care of themselves. And we each do it in our own way. You know, there's the dad who's sitting in 8 hours in the convention. There's the dads who's getting coffee, and there's the dads who ate something bad the night before and it's in the toilet, and there's the dad who needs to step away, check on the kids, video call. And there's dads who go up and take a nap because they are just exhausted from traveling, and they don't get many of those. So I am just looking forward to spending time with each of and every one of you, and just being myself around that. I think it's something that I haven't done in quite a while. So ever since February 4th, what was it, 2018, 2019, 2019. So it's been a while. I don't know how to react. I'm not sure, after this pandemic. Last time, July 4th, we went to a concert here in Fort Bragg. It was a band that I knew some songs, but I never seen in person. Of course, they're not from my age. It's Foreigner.
Oh, Foreigner, yeah.
Foreigner, yeah. And they had a huge concert here in Fort Bragg. It was like 50,000 people. And my wife took me there. We bought some beers and we left our daughter with her grandma who was here visiting. And they started playing and I started crying because I didn't know. I'm a musician by profession. That's one of my professions. And I never knew if I was going to be able to make it to a massive concert ever again. It really touched my heart. I still get sentimental because I didn't know where humanity was going. It was scary. Yeah. And as caretakers, how do you come with explanations when you're scared, when you don't even know what tomorrow is going to be like? So this for me is getting back to normal. It's like the first step towards getting back to normal with my fellow dads, and which is a community that I serve every day. So that's what I'm really looking forward. And if you want to have a cigar, hit me up. We're going to go to a lounge and just hit me up. And if you don't have a cigar, don't worry, I'll bring something for you.
Love it. Definitely. Yeah. I'm looking forward to definitely lighting up a cigar with you for sure.
If you'll bring them, and if we don't have any, then I absolutely don't have any. I'm not even smoking one now. This is a complete fake. And bring you a cigar, man. No. I'm planning on picking some up when I get there. So.
Oh shoot. So, all right, Lou, you've been coming around since 2016, Raleigh. So you've been to Raleigh, Orlando, Minneapolis, coming up to Cincinnati
Portland.
Here. And Portland. Sorry, I forgot about Portland. And Portland. What is it that what do you love about the convention? Do you have a favorite thing about Home Dad Con?
I obviously seeing all the other dads they're doing the same job that I'm doing. It makes me feel important. It makes me feel like I have a real job, which I do. And my job is to take care of my kids. And it's like on the job training for dads, Yes. And, I also enjoy the break. I'm not going to lie. It's nice to sleep in the hotel and relax and get my coffee and travel by myself and see new cities. And it's all good. It's all been, that's why I keep coming back every year. It's just, I feel like my wife knows that I come back like a new man. I feel I come back refreshed and recharged and ready to do my job better. And so.
No, that's great. And
she's very she's very supportive of me going. So
And honestly, like Danny and I talked about that. That is key. I feel like
Mhm.
to come into this convention is having your wife on board or your spouse on board for that.
Mhm.
I'm curious, like I know I pretty much know Danny's itinerary. But for Sergio and Lou, I was curious, like, are you guys coming in early to do any of the like Thursday extra stuff? Are you guys getting to do any of that beforehand? Or are you coming in right at the get-go of like the convention eve?
I'll be in early Thursday morning, so I should be able to make your tour of the city.
Oh, nice.
So.
Awesome. Very cool.
Same here. Coming
Yeah?
in Thursday morning, leaving Sunday afternoon. So trying to get the most out of this continued education for stay-at-home dads, which is what we do.
Definitely. Oh, that's great, man. I'm glad you guys are getting to come in early and you'll get to experience some of the city and see things. I'm really excited to show it off to everybody. So that's cool. Danny, what about you, man? I imagine you can probably pick a bunch of different things, and we've talked about a lot of things, but over the episodes and stuff. But do you have like that specific thing that you just, this is why, or this is my favorite for Home Dad Con? Just
No,
a resounding
I don't have a favorite.
yes.
It's like a favorite child, like you said, but the camaraderie, I think, is first and foremost in my mind. Being able to get back with like Lou, the guys that I've met before, and every time I see like Lou and Alex, I'm like, hey, how's it going? Even just in a video chat, but getting to hang out with the guys that really understand what I'm going through and what I'm doing. I'm really looking forward to eating my own food. That's a big one for me, because I never get to, I'm like, oh, what are you eating? Here, you want me to make you one? Okay, come on. But I'm also looking to, at some point, going into during one of the breaks during the sessions, into the men's room and knocking on every single door and going, Dad, because you have to feel like you're at home. You want to feel like that they're good. But there's several sessions that we've talked about previously on the podcast that I really am looking forward to. I really want to meet the past presidents, and I really want to have an opportunity to talk to them. And then Dr. Bob, just to hear him. I don't need to talk to him. I'm probably get starstruck, and just be like a little stupid fanboy and just stare over in the corner and take pictures of him or something. Because for Sergio and Lou, if you haven't heard of him, he started Home Dad Con years and years and years ago.
Godfather of Home Dad Con.
Yeah, he really is. And to see where it's come in 25 years has got to be just mind blowing for him. I don't think you could imagine that you would have any part of developing such an amazing network and convention and just everything else that's come from it. But the fact that he was there at the very beginning when stay-at-home dads were really rare. Then we didn't have the organization, we didn't have the network. You're kind of, it's like snail mail to get stuff to each other, and to think of how it is today with the groups that we have and, all of our social media and everything else. So I'm really kind of looking forward to meeting him. I'm looking forward to getting Shannon to autograph my book, because I'm a dork like that. And I really kind of want to meet David Stanley up in person as well. I've just read a lot about him, and I've talked to him. Well, I haven't talked to him, but we've like chat on Facebook and what have you. So it's just getting to meet the guys that are really, this is the reason the organization is here, and this is the reason the organization is moving forward,
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
and then
definitely
hugs, all the hugs.
Yeah.
And Brock, good job to you and the team this year. Looks like there's going to be some really good breakout sessions. I noticed. Probably the best I've seen since Portland. So.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a group effort of a lot of guys. So
that's a big compliment. Portland was tippy top.
Portland was big. I missed Portland.
Minneapolis too.
Honestly, like
ahead,
all the conventions they've all been different. Like that's the one thing that we've talked about is like they all have their different like pieces to them. And my goal was to try to bring as much diversity to this convention compared to some of the other ones. I feel like, I've accomplished that goal, and especially with just all the different speakers that we have coming in. I think my biggest accomplishment is probably getting Al and Miles to come and talk about just the things that they've gone through as a father and son and transition, and being able to talk about that. And I feel like there's a lot of us that are in the dark, like myself, who have absolutely no idea like what that would even be like. And so to be able to hear it, you know, in that sort of scenario where they're right there in front of you, is going to be probably one of the biggest highlights for the convention for me. So,
Great.
but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great. I'm getting kind of emotional about it because it's like it's so close.
Yeah.
And I have moments where I like want to have like a nervous breakdown, and then there's other moments where I get super excited about it. And it's just one of those deals where it's like, you know, I'm holding a lot of reins with a lot of other guys, and you know, as the days go forward, you slowly can let certain things go because they're taken care of. But yeah, I'm looking forward to having you guys there. And honestly, like I really encourage anybody that's listening to the podcast, that's been listening through this, like if you've got questions for these guys that weren't answered or weren't asked, that you reach out to them. That was the one thing that when I ran for the board, I had guys that asked me questions. And then I also had guys, and Sergio, I'll just put this up here because I know you're the new guy on the block. There are some guys who might be like, who is this guy? He's new. Like, this is his first home dad con. And I'm just going to tell anybody that's listening right now, don't let that whole idea be the reason that you don't consider, you know, bringing somebody on who's, you know, brand new, because look where I am right now. Like, honestly, that's the thing.
Yeah,
like,
right. Like,
just
who's this weirdo singing Baby Shark wearing a shark costume?
yeah, right. No kidding.
Brock.
I jumped all in on that, didn't I? There's no video footage of that anywhere. I promise.
I promise. That's why I liked you though, man. I mean, it was again being willing to jump in with both feet.
I still have that shark costume.
I think, of course, probably got it on like a little pedestal, or you know,
Hey,
hang it up in a glass case.
You should bring it. You're close to home, so
I'm not bringing it. It's gonna get. It will get pulled out for Halloween. My wife. Yeah. Well, my daughter was like, "You're gonna wear the shark costume for Halloween this year again, are you?" What are you gonna say, Sergio?
No, I wanted to like ask you a question because I know this is about us, but how do you feel like this time? You know, the convention is gonna be in your backyard. Like, how do you? You know, because all of us are looking forward to the travel time and, you know, like getting there. What is the difference, you know, and how are you looking forward to that?
Oh, man, that's a great question, because actually my wife and I just sat down today and talked about like how we were going to play this, because unlike all of you guys where it's like, hey, I'm jumping on a plane, peace out, see you later. Like, I mean, I'm just driving 20 minutes down the road to where this is at. And so we had to sit down and have a very serious conversation about like timing, like how is this going to work out, because like my kids are in school still, and I typically take them to school and pick them up, and she's working all day, and she's taking time off. But with the fact that there are guys coming in early, like for instance, like Joe Saladino comes in on Monday night and he's staying here, you know, and we were planning on hanging out, and then I think basically like we're going to do dinner, and I'm going to take him out to like one of the local breweries nearby. But then on Tuesday, I'm going to go drop the kids off at school. And then he and I have to go like pick some stuff up and run some different errands and things. And I want to like show them around the city and stuff. And then I'm picking guys up in the afternoon. And so I had to ask my wife, I'm like, so I know you mentioned that like you could do like a lot of flexible time. What does that look like now? Because she also got a promotion recently, but she was all like, well, I have flexibility. And I'm like, let's talk about that. And so that was a key conversation, because she was like, all right, I got to just be able to block out time for different things, you know, picking up the kids and whatnot. And I just said, all right, well, this is going to start like Tuesday afternoon. Are you cool with picking the kids up on Tuesday afternoon so that I can go pick up guys at the airport? And then basically like, I'm going to come back here to the house, like probably give everybody hugs and kisses and then head out the door. And you're not going to see me the rest of the week, because Tuesday night, I planned on staying at the hotel with everybody, because Wednesday morning, Danny and I got to go get the vans for the bourbon tour. And so I was like, I can't go drop off the kids on Wednesday like we had thought we were going to do. And I was like, so basically Wednesday, it's like, you're on, like, you know, actually Tuesday afternoon, you're on. And honestly, like, I love my wife, and she is like Lou was saying, like, she's very like, my wife is very supportive, and the fact that she's willing to make these adjustments in her work schedule, especially from the standpoint of like she's working still all day on Wednesday and Tuesday, and she's, you know, taking that time to go pick up the kids and stuff. And my kids for 5 and 8 are amazing when it comes to like, all right, like you've got homework to do, and then like, you know, they can function themselves very well in the house. So there's not a lot of like, oh my God, is my house going to like be burning type of deal. She can work and do that kind of stuff with them. So that's nice. But yeah, just that's what it was. It was a very detailed logistics conversation that we sat down and talked about today, and got it all squared away to where basically I can be the host and be around everybody, and, you know, be who I need to be for the week, which is not the primary caregiver for the rest of that week. And so I'm very appreciative of that. And you know, I also too, like, I sent her away last weekend on a mom's camping retreat with a bunch of other moms, just to give her a chance to get away for a weekend and just to disconnect herself. And so she's had some time away. And so I'm getting some time away too. And then I have a surgery coming up in November for my shoulder. So we'll get to spend a lot of time together because she'll be taking care of me.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what it came down to, was just trying to set things up and just being very upfront and honest about this is what needs to take place. And is it possible? And me being very much open to the fact of, if she had to say no, like, I need you this, like, being okay with that, because, you know, her job is super important and needs, you know, things. And it's like, if I've got to take and change things around, then I was ready to do that. And she was very open to being like, nope, I got it. You're good. Go do what you've been planning for 2 years to do, and just knock it out of the park. And that's that whole mantra of the whole idea of like, you know, she has to succeed, or I have to succeed so she can succeed, so that we can succeed, mentality from Incredibles 2. And I feel like, you know, a lot of times that's usually the gears that we're hitting on. Not all the time, but most of the time. So yeah, no, I appreciate you asking me that, man.
Awesome. And it seems like, I don't know about you guys, but it seems like when you're away for a couple of days, when you come back, there's like a lot more love, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like my wife, like, she appreciates what I do at home a lot more when I'm away. And I kind of like, you know, love these breaks, because it's not only a break for yourself, but it's a break for your significant other to value what you do 24/7.
Distance makes the heart grow fonder, and makes you miss your house cleaner. No, I was kidding.
That's right. When's the maid coming back?
When is the laundry fairy coming back? I miss him.
Right. Yeah. I expect to see a lot of pizza boxes, and you know, just, did the kids go to school? I mean, it's fine, but do I have to go talk to a teacher?
Like we said last week, make sure that you at least let your wife know where the toilet paper is in the house. Like,
that's right. Keep that listed.
We had a guy a few years ago who his wife had to text him and be like, where is this stuff? So,
where do we keep the toilet paper?
I mean, if you think about it, like, you're stocking it, you're putting it out there, like, you know, she ends up being at home and like, oh, I don't know where any of this stuff is at, kind of deal. So yeah, definitely write those lists out. You know, set your partner or spouse up for success when you go away. So, well, guys, honestly, this has been a real pleasure to get to talk to you and just be able to hear what you had to say. I didn't know if I would have even gotten the chance otherwise to do this. And I think that with the fact that we have the podcast, I could not pass on this opportunity to bring everybody on and you know, get the opportunity to just converse and have a fun roundtable discussion. So thank you all for coming on tonight. And I really do wish you all the best of luck. It is going to be a very difficult vote. I think that is something that everybody will agree on. And like I said, whichever one of you four does not like get into the board, I will be there to come right around you and be like, all right, like, let's go do something within, like, volunteer wise, and get things going, because there's plenty of areas to get involved in. So, but aside from that, like I said, thanks so much, guys, and I really am looking forward to seeing y'all in just a few days. Like, it's crazy, it's just gonna be in a few days. So I've got hugs for everybody. So just be ready.
Bring it.
Cool. Well, hey, y'all have a good day. And like I said, I'll see y'all real soon. And thanks for everybody for listening. And we'll be back.
Great.
Maybe not this following week, just because it just depends on how things are going to go. But we'll eventually get you some content here very soon, because Home Dad Con's kind of crazy sometimes. So with that, have a good one. We'll talk to y'all later soon.
Good night, everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.